what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rise. We're back at the original undisclosed location for a very good reason. I have one of my favorite cars that I love to drive. This is a 2021 Mazda Miata. This particular one is an RF, and guess what? We got the sporty club trim. But before we get into this small size, slick shifting 6-speed manual transmission of a car, let's talk about what's going on here. The Miata. The story actually goes on well before the Miata ever came into existence in the 1990s. It really is the whole idea about what those World War II GIs experienced while they were over in Europe, those small European sports cars. Cars like the MG, the MGB, and the Triumph Spitfires. When they came back to the States, guess what? They wanted those small, two-seat, not a lot of high horsepower cars, but definitely light and very nimble. Fast forward to the birth of the Mazda Miata, and that really is the true essence. Being light, not having a ton of horsepower, but being nimble and that whole driving experience. Now, a lot of people that wanted a hardtop Miata never got that until this RF. Now, if you're wondering, well, Joe, is this a coupe? Is this a Mazda Miata coupe? No. RF stands for retractable fastback. So what you're getting is, you are getting a hardtop, but you could also get that open air convertible experience. The good news is it doesn't add a lot of weight, and the even better news is our Miata RF, being a club trim, has a lot of go fast handling goodies and braking goodies that's just gonna increase that overall driving experience. So what I wanna find out is, Mazda Miata owners say, Miata is always the answer. Is this the best sports car that you could be driving? Is it a sports car? Do you need 800 horsepower to call a car a sports car? Let's dive in to this 2021 Miata RF Club and find out. Right off the bat, the color. This poly metal gray color is exactly what I would go with. I actually like it better than Soul Red, and I never thought I would say that ever. Obviously, Soul Red is that particular color from Mazda that is part of their brand, but this color fits it to a T. Still going on that same styling that's been around since 2016 with the redesign. The way they do the headlight housing, the front fascia, it's very Jaguar F-Type-esque, and they did it great. So you're gonna have that projector beam style headlight in there, LED headlight. Love the way they blacked out the interior of that headlight for the most part. And it's very, very small, which I think helps with the body lines. We drop down, you have some more exterior lighting, and then the Club Edition is gonna have this gloss black extra aero. So this front splitter looks good, but it also performs in the wind tunnel to give us more downforce. You'll notice how it curves up on the edge to direct air down the side of the vehicle. And as we come across the center here, it's got just that really welcoming front fascia. It's not meant to be aggressive, but definitely they've given it that extra width and that extra personality compared to previous generations. You have a bit of gloss black. It is gloss black heavy in the center, but the rest of it is flat black, obviously fully functional, and you can see that hood, how it just drapes down so clean into the front fascia. When we get up onto that low slung hood, body lines are really clean. And obviously it's all part of that design philosophy from Mazda. The way it just kind of creeps up and heads towards the A-pillar gives you the perfect vantage point. One of the things to being an ultimate sports car is having those reference points so you can hit your apexes as you're going down your favorite twisty road or your favorite racetrack. Coming around the bend, guess what? The goodies don't stop coming. When you go club, you're getting these 17-inch Forge BBS wheels. So remember, Forge wheel is going to be less rotating mass. I love the nice Y-spoke design, gloss black with those bright red Brembo 4-piston calipers. And of course, you're going to get a nice size rotor that's fully ventilated. Of course, when it comes to overall braking, you don't need an 8-piston caliper to have good braking. The great news about this car is that it's very light, so you don't need massive brakes to slow it down effectively. Behind the fenders, all 4 of them are Bilstein dampers that have been specially tuned to give you that utmost in handling. And if you're wondering, well, what's the size of this tire, Joe? 205 on the width, 45 series sidewall, and there's only one way to get a Miata, and that's rear-wheel drive, of course. But I love the sexy fender, how it goes nicely into the hood. Side marker light kind of is that connection to the past with the MGs, MGBs, and the Triumphs. I love the way they drop it into the fender and carry the body line. Continuing with the front splitter, you are going to get full aero around the whole vehicle. So I love on the Club the side sill extension, especially the way it curves up and directs air to the rear of the vehicle. You're going to get gloss black on the mirror caps. And as you can see, we got the hard top in position. This is like that Miata coupe. Very nice how you have that extension coming down into the rear fender. Really a great job on taking that rear fender and really almost making it look like it's flared out at the back. And as we come around the tail end of the business, of course, if we have a front splitter and we have side skirts, you got to have a nice trunk spoiler. Little tiny shark fin antenna. One of the things I can never understand is why do we need this? Zonk this, get rid of that, have it all right in here in that shark fin antenna, but it did a great job on styling that retractable fastback. Absolutely love the way that they did it. Really makes it look like just a coupe. And that's a really good thing, I feel, because it gives you that flexibility. If you don't want a soft top, you could get your hard shell taco and enjoy it. You don't have to go soft shell. Drop down, just like up front. They do a great job on the taillights, LED taillights. Love the way it kind of blends into the fender. You got your reverse lights mounted down, very low, very clean. You don't have a bunch of reflectors all over the place. Gloss black on the bottom. And then to kind of top it all off, you have a twin outlet exhaust. It would be nice to have some kind of finishing tip on these, but you know what? I love the way it's so even with one another. Nice straight cut. The one thing that you could definitely tell was an afterthought was this guy right here. Mazda waited until it was required to have a backup camera, and they literally notched out a part of the rear bumper and dropped it in there. So I guess they got it done, just not very sexy or clean. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering our MX-5 Miata. Right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. I'm not zonking it though because of the connection to those iconic British sports cars. All the way over to the right-hand side gives you a clean bird's eye view of what's underneath the hood. That is a naturally aspirated 2-liter engine. So you're looking at 181 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque. You might not be saying, well, Joe, that's not a lot of power, but guess what? The car weighs around 2,496 pounds. So that's really where you're seeing a power to weight ratio that's actually quite pleasurable. So you're looking at 0 to 60, if you know how to dance on your twinkle toes, because we got the 6-speed manual, 0 to 60 in about 5.8 seconds. Quarter mile goes by at 14.5. MPGs is where you're really gonna win. 26 in the city, 34 on the highway. What I love is how you're able to just see everything. One of the sexiest engines, you know, there's no Miata name anywhere on here, but this MX-5 has a sexy cam cover. I love the way you got the ignition control modules, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your spark plugs are down in there because remember, this is an inline 4. It's rear-wheel drive, so obviously this is how it's going to be positioned in the engine compartment. And you can see the massive 3-piece strut tower brace that we have to stiffen up the front. Minimalistic on the plastic. This stuff, that's real aluminum. I like to see that. That's very sexy. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this 2-liter and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this 2021 Mazda RF. Remember, there's not one place on here where it says Miata. It's an MX-5 technically, but we all affectionately call it the Miata. But I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been looking for a fun sports car. I don't need 700 horsepower. I've always wanted one of these, but I'm curious. I'm curious about the RF, and I'm curious about the price. How much is this one? Well, this one, remember, is a club trim, and we got the Recaros, which I'm going to show you in a split second. MSRP is right around starting $36,000. Let's see what you get for the money to the door panels. Now, I like the way they brought the color of the exterior to the interior up top. The bad news is you just don't want to put your arm up on that because you're going to burn it on a hot summer day like today. You do have white contrast stitching, which is very tasteful. And then the armrest is so small, it's barely even there, but you're really not going to be wanting to rest your arm anywhere. You'll probably have them just on your lap, having a good old time in your RF. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, hard material. The good news is it's all flat black, so there's not a lot of glare. I do like the way they brought the stitching to the center area here. The other bad news is the infotainment. So it's a 7-inch system. The good news is that it's a touchscreen. But going back to the bad news, it's only 7 inches, and I don't really like the way it's positioned. I'd rather do without, just have no infotainment system, but we can't do that in today's day and age. Drop down, you got your standard AC controls, start, stop button. That's your switch to put back the retractable fastback. You got a slot here for 2 Twinkies, 2 USBs, and you got heated seats. But this is where the magic happens. Remember when you were a kid and your parents said knock before you come into their room because that's where they made the magic happen? This is where you're gonna make the magic happen. Nice short throws, very crisp engagement, and just like the changes they made to the engine a couple years ago, they made some nice revisions to this gearbox. One of my favorite, shift knob is perfect. You got a good old-fashioned e-brake, that direct drive control knob if you don't want to touch the screen on your infotainment. Semi-soft, this little container, barely half a Twinkie in there. Maybe you might want to fill this up with some Skittles as you're driving down the road. You do have a nice storage compartment there. As you can see, there's the cup holders whenever you need them, but you could put, I would say, about 18 Twinkies back there. My favorite part of the seats, these Recaros, leather, Alcantara, love the Recaro name, the stitching, nice bolstering, everything's manual in here. Manual adjustment for the passenger and for the driver. But here's the crazy news. Breaking news. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom in here. Go do your autocross event. Go you do your track day. You're gonna have a blast and you're gonna develop the skills that make you a better driver in this car. But why don't you come over here, because I want to show you where you're going to be doing the business behind the wheel of this MX-5 RF. All right, guys, behind the business end, this car really fits me like a glove. I know I probably look too big for the interior, but it really feels good in here, especially once you get in and get down to business. But I love the bolstering. Steering wheel, great size. It could be a little thicker of a rim steering wheel, but really nice thin spokes. I like the way they hollow out the center there. You got the Mazda button. For the first time, you do have tilting and telescoping steering wheel with these past few years of the Miata, the MX-5, whether you go convertible or RF. And then instrumentation is straightforward and to the point. You have exactly what you need, nothing else. Tachometer right in the center, nice and large, red line, 7,500 RPM, analog speedometer, and then a digital gauge over on the left that shows you a plethora of information. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out the trunk, see if it's usable, and then I want to show you how this RF top transforms from hardtop to convertible. All right, guys, time to show you that RF, that retractable fastback. You just hit the switch that I showed you earlier, and 1, 2, 3. The only problem is you have to be going 6 miles per hour or less for the top to transform. But once it's done, you get a chime, and it really looks like a nice finished piece. Like this is exactly how it's meant to be. But you know what? You know what's meant to be? If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle in our MX-5. All right, guys, we're in this 2021 Mazda Miata RF. Let's go on throttle. Let me turn the air down. On throttle, here we go, yeah! Woo! That wonderful, pure driving experience. That's what I love about this thing. On the brakes. Look at this. Great feedback. And you just let it pull all the way up to 7,500 RPM. The brakes. Love the handling. Yeah! The brakes. Wow. So, you know, we're talking about this car being, is it the perfect sports car? Is it the purest sports car? Is it worth it?
when you go the RF, it's really awesome because you could just leave the top up the whole time, pretend that this is a hardtop Miata, and you are gonna have such a well-tuned experience. Like your frontal lobe is just wired into the car. All of the changes that they've made over the past couple years, especially with the engine and the gearbox, really just heighten the whole level of being connected. Now, does it have a ton of horsepower? No. But what it does have is that great driving enjoyment and engagement that when you go 700 horsepower or so, that's when things start to go sideways. Because, literally sideways, because you just got way too much horsepower for the road. This thing, you get to use it all. And I love that. And the great news is this is exactly how I would get a Miata RF if I did not want just your standard convertible. Same color, the club package with the Recaros, all of the extra touches that you could do, like tilting and telescoping steering wheel, allow you to be connected. And I'm 6 feet tall. I got plenty of headroom in here, and I'm leaving the top up the whole time to really, like I said, talk about that whole hard top experience in this car. But if you're ready, I'm definitely ready. Andre, here we go, yeah! Woo! A chirping tire's a happy tire. Look at this, the directed feeling. You're just so connected, so connected. On the brakes, here we go. Nice. A ton of fun. Just let the engine pull all the way through the revs. Watch this transition. Look at this. Yeah! Woo! On the brakes. Heel toe downshifting is perfect in this thing. Brembo's doing the business. I'm telling you, going club, getting the BBS wheels, getting the Brembo brakes with these Recaros and the limited slip diff is worth the price of admission. I love the simplicity in here. You know, yeah, it's got a dated infotainment system. Yeah, there's some hard plastic here and there. I don't give a damn because this thing puts a smile on your face a mile wide. All right, guys, we got the retractable fastback retracted. Andre, here we go. Yeah! Nice. Open air experience. Great handling. Just wind it out. Super smooth. Yeah! Puts a smile on your face. There we go. Nice. You just let it pull. Let it pull. So the one major zonk to this interior is when you put that retractable fastback in the retracted position, a lot of buffeting. I got the side windows up and it's just creating a lot of buffeting in here. That's why I really think if I was to go RF, I'd probably be on that fence of just leaving the top up most of the time because you're gonna get that nice solid closed cockpit feel. But just like your standard Miata, you're still getting that open air experience and it's putting a great smile on your face. And I'll be honest, when you put the top back and people are looking, they're like, what the heck is going on with the bodywork and stuff? It's still really a cool feature, even though the RF's been available for a couple years, cool feature to have just for like wowing people, All right, guys, here we are. Top is back up. I like this secure feeling, especially with the amount of headroom in here. I'm 6 feet tall. You got plenty of room in this thing. Here we go. On top, yeah! Woo! Yeah! Woo! That was awesome. Brakes feel good. Just carry the speed. This thing really teaches you proper line, how to carry your momentum, because if you don't, it's just gonna kill the overall performance of what you're doing on the track or on the road. On the brakes. Heel toe downshift is so amazing in this thing. Yeah! So freaking balanced. Love the feedback to the steering wheel. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. Short throws, very mechanical engagement. This is probably the best gearbox that's ever been in a Miata, and Miata is always the answer. This really is a sports car that people will complain about the horsepower, complain about the overall performance of it, and they've never got behind the wheel and rode through this 6-speed manual transmission, and that's the shame in all of this. And that's why you really got to get out there and drive one of these, because in the driving, in the doing, is where it's the believing. All right, guys, one last time for you, definitely one last time for me. If you're ready, I'm ready. On fire! Woo! The limited slip diff gets the power to the ground so nicely. Look at this. Here we go. Yeah! The way the car talks front to back to you is so amazing. Communication A+. Just let it pull all the way through the rev range. That's the great thing about this car. Look at this. Really nice. Really, really nice. It just allows you to really use all the power that you have, obviously, and focus on the actual skill of driving. Any mistake you make, you don't have the power to just automatically correct it. And I'm telling you, if I had some room in my garage, I would add a Miata to it, because it really is that much fun to drive. And there's really no other sports car that communicates like this car does. But hopefully you've enjoyed our little twisty bit ride in this Miata RF. We're gonna get back to where it all began and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys. It's been another great day with this Mazda MX-5 RF. I definitely got to thank everybody at Mazda for allowing Raiti's Rides access to this press fleet vehicle. Is it the best sports car? I don't know. It really depends on what you feel is the definition of a sports car. It has that 6-speed manual. It has that naturally aspirated power, and definitely puts a smile on your face ear to ear. If you haven't been behind the wheel of one of these, you need to, because you might be saying Miata is always the answer. But if you want to keep seeing sports cars like these and other types of cars on Raiti's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, 2 ways to do it. Click the first link, get yourself some Raiti's Rides merch. Click the second link, become a Raiti's Rides Patreon member. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera. She's loving this car, getting it from all the angles. Show her some love for her hard work in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.